All right, so for our practice warm-up today, we're gonna go ahead and use a ruler and trace the width of the ruler across our piece of paper. Now the paper that you're using may be a little bit different size, and that's okay, but I'm basically tracing the top and bottom of my ruler here for the width of my letters that we're going to do, okay? For the second one here, I'm gonna go ahead and do something that starts the same width. Okay, and that gradually gets smaller. Okay, I'm freehanding it. You could connect it via the ruler. Okay, so see how the width changes size from one side to the other. Okay, that's kind of what we're shooting for. Now, a couple of things. I am going to start with a word, okay, just to practice on, and for our bubble letters today. So bubble letters are basically letters that are shapes that have sort of a curve to them, okay? So I am going to use the word, and you can use whatever word you would like. I'm going to use the word careful, and I'm going to use it twice here. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by creating each of these letters in capital letters that touch both the top and the bottom of these lines. Okay, so I'm going to sketch it out here. So capital letter C. I'm going to leave a little bit of a space just in case. Capital letter A, see how the capital letter A touches top and bottom. Capital letter R, capital letter E, touching top and bottom. Little space, capital F, capital U, capital L. Okay, so at this point in time, I have careful. I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm going to do the same thing with this. So I'm going to do the same word. Capital letters. And as I go across here, I'm going to make sure the top and bottom of my letters touch the top and bottom of this space. You'll notice how it starts to angle differently and get smaller toward the end. Okay? In fact, if I wanted to go the extra mile here, I would do carefully. You can definitely see how that changes size and angle. Okay? So step one is to do your word in capital letters, space them decently apart, okay? And those capital letters have to touch top, bottom of each of these sections. Now to transform these into bubble letters, and I'm gonna do this around my letters just to show you what it looks like, okay? To create a bubble letter is a shape. At the end of each letter, okay, so where the letter stops, you're always going to curve your shape, okay? And the goal with this is to keep the line that you are drawing equal distance away from this, okay? Now, because this A, okay, I'm gonna do the ends of both of these first, end of the top. Okay, so these are all curved, and I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that my line is equally distant away from the original line. The opening here, I'm gonna keep that rounded. Top and bottom of these letters are curved. I'm going to keep the line equally distant all the way around this initial letter I drew. The initial letter kind of acts as the skeleton, and the goal is to have your space on either side be as equal as possible. I'm going to go a little bit faster now just in the interest of time. End caps end of the letters are nice and curved. Now see if these overlap, how I'm doing them either in front or behind. See how this ends, I'm curving it, and on either side of that, the skeleton letter, keeping it equal distant. All right, now at this point in time, I can go ahead and erase my skeleton, and I have letters that are shapes. Okay, shapes are a space that is enclosed by lines. So that means there's line all the way around. Okay. Now the next one that we're going to do is a little bit more difficult. Okay. And that one that's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more difficult because it gets more narrow as you go across. Right. Okay, this one we're going to practice a slightly different way. Okay, I'm actually going to just create an even space inside of each of these letters. So I'm using the skeleton slightly differently. Okay, I'm going to start by rounding the end cap here. And in order to make this letter go inside of my two lines, I'm going to treat the interior space. The goal with creating these bubble letters this way is see how this is an even space throughout. So what I'm shooting for. Okay, I'm going to curve the bottom sections here and do my letter on the inside, keeping in mind I want my letter to be as even as possible. So I'm going to erase this because it's not. Curving the end here. You can also alter the shape as you go if it's not exactly how you want it. So I had to alter that R. R's are hard. Okay, I'm going to use the inside part of this E. Before I do that though, I'm going to just kind of curve the end cap. And I'm going to keep this equally distant. The goal is to keep this even width throughout. If one part of your letter is fatter and one is thinner, just make sure you go back and fix that. I'm having a little bit of that here. Do the inside of this U. Actually going to go around this Y here. Okay. So this is two different ways that you can do bubble letters, and the main thing that you've got to keep in mind is these letters are shapes and they have to be even distance throughout. Okay, I would say fatter is kind of better than thinner with these. You'll notice that these are all sorry, I almost sneezed there. These are all curved shapes, okay? And I have erased the skeleton inside. You'll also notice these are capital letters and they touch top and bottom of these spaces. This space gets smaller and the letters get smaller as it goes down, okay?